Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. We are once again back on Warhammer 3. We are continuing our beginner's guide series today, and this time it is on Khorne. So if you ever felt you don't know what to do necessarily with Khorne and such, well, this is the video for you. Of course, we typically play on legendary very hard here, but of course this is transferable to every other difficulty. Just a quick word though, I'm not feeling too 100% today, so if if you can hear my voice, then I do apologize, and hopefully I can get to 100% soon. Okay, so now that we're on the campaign map, we are going to have a look at the buildings first. Now, I'm not going to run down the whole everything about Skarbrand's abilities and such. I'll give a general description, but I've already done a video on that, which if I remember I will link down or in the top right of this video. So yeah, so definitely go check that out. So in terms of building choices, Skarbrand is a bit different, okay? So you typically want to build your growth building, right? But you don't have a growth building as Khorne because you gain growth differently. You gain growth via his bloodletting ability, which you can see here. Every time you go higher, you get more growth. So instead of growth, I highly recommend going for stuff like the War Amphitheater. The War Amphitheater gives you 10% more post-battle loot for all armies in adjacent regions. I like this because Khorne is all about the battles. You make your income via your battles, not necessarily your buildings. So that's one thing you're gonna have to remember. Do not worry about losing income. You gain all your income for battles. So you stack those buffs up, okay? So we're gonna build the War Amphitheater, and it goes up to 30% increase. After that, I would just ditch. I would just get rid of the kennels. Any military buildings I would build is the armory in any of your minor settlements to get any cultists. That's really what you want. The cultists and the chaos warriors, if you really want the chaos warriors. They're very good anyway. So the cultists of Khorne, which we'll get to talking about in a little while, are great because they have the Gate of Khorne. The Gate of Khorne allows you to spawn bloodletters. Other than that, I would go for the Skull Crushers. Skull Crushers are great anti-infantry cavalry. They also do great against more armored opponents, so that's another choice. And then lastly, you can go for the Bloodthirsters if you really want to. But I highly recommend getting the War Amphitheater, the Armory for the Cultists, and the Skull Harvester or the Juggerplex for the Skull Crushers. These are, in my opinion, the priority stuff. After that, you can get your other stuff like the income from all buildings you can get as early as possible. So you go for War Amphitheater, then the trophy racks to stack up the little bit more income. Also, the Khorne tribute is also not bad for that income if your lord's present, but it's nothing too amazing. In terms of the choices between the provincial capital, you have Dimensional Tear and Soulkeep. This is really situational. It depends. Generally speaking, I do keep the Bloodfire stacked as the dimensional, the portal rather, but only because you can get Chaos Warriors from minor settlements, and same as Bloodletters from minor settlements. So we're going to get onto the army composition in a little bit. So we will get onto the skill trees. Okay, so now that we're on the skill tree, let's go talk about it. Now, Skarbrand the Exiled skill tree is quite a lot easier than, let's say, Kugath's. It's very straightforward and quite a bit smaller. So the first thing I always do and always recommend in all my campaigns and guides is Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike gives you the ability to be on the offensive and turn off enemy reinforcements, which is pretty much the only way you should be playing, constantly be on the attack with Lightning Strike. After the specific stuff I should say is get Blood Feast for that casual replenishment rate, or just spoilers for that income from raiding. These really add to the ability for you to get cash as well as casual replenishment rate, so you can keep going on those battles. After we go down the Lightning Strike tree, we should go down the Raging Khan or his unique tree. So by the time you've got this, you should be around the level to unlock this. So this tree is very important because you've got some great buffs. Like Relentless Fury is 15% campaign movement range after winning a battle. This stacks with the Exiled one, which gives you 35% after winning a battle, which overall gives you about 50% every single time you win battles. It's so strong, so definitely go grab that. As well as that, you should grab Drinker of Blood for the constant heal while you're in melee, as well as the income from post-battle loot. This stacks with the building that gives you a post-battle loot income increase for adjacent provinces. So that's another way you're going to grab money. Remember, we don't worry about being below income when you've got these constant increases to our from our post-battle loot. Another good one is Raffle Reaper, which allows for you to do a lot more damage to enemy lords and such, and to take them out super fast. Very potent. Lastly, you'll really want to get Locus of Endless War, which is a +3 units on creation for Blood Hosts. You really want to be using Blood Hosts, and this is all characters faction wide, so every single unit that makes a Blood Host, this is an increase. This stacks with the Blood Throne, Skill Throne, which we spoke about on the other video. After that, of course, finally, you should go down the weapon strength tree, or the self tree. Pretty much every single one of these boost up your weapon strength, as well as your health, speed, damage, etc, etc. You're going to grab these all, but you don't necessarily have to rush to grab every single one of these pips before going to the next one. Just get the enough, which I believe is 4. And then you unlock Melee of Endless Fury, which is a great missile/breath attack. You can't be in melee, but it's pretty good when the enemy blobs up. Then you want to go for Fueled by Rage as soon as possible to get the 25% increase to their base weapon damage and armor piercing weapon damage, which stacks with Raffle Reaper. And you just get so much weapon strength that you can really kill heralds with like 3 hits, and like stuff like Legendary Lords, even like Nakari, who can die very quickly to Skarbrand. He's very scary. Then lastly, of course, you then go for your infantry buffs, your bloodthirster upgrades and all that, because after that you got nothing else to get. But make sure to complete this line completely before you go on to the red one, or rather the unit specific ones, because you want to make Skarbrand very killy. That's the main objective here. So Cultists of Khorne are very easy to level up as well as Skarbrand. The reason why I want to highlight them is because of this. The Greater Gate of Khorne. This is why you want to grab Cultists. Get a couple of them if you really have to. This allows you to spawn Bloodthirsters. They do degrade over time, but there's still 3 Bloodthirsters in battle. You do need them to be, I believe, level 16 to grab this, but I definitely think it's worth it. Do I think you should go for a Chaos Steed in them? No, I don't think they need to be in Chaos Steed, because these units are very tanky as well. I like to kit them out to be very tanky units so that they can, tank for the entire army while, Skarbrand munches on it. I definitely don't think you should put on a Chaos Steed. In terms of that, just go for health, go for like melee defense and such. And then if you've got spare stuff, you can go for the damage after. I just wanted to quickly highlight them. Yeah, so they're all about the Greater Gate of Khorne. That's why I go for 2 of them. So let's get on to talking about the Blood Reaper. So the Blood Reaper is, once again, as you'd expect, the Khorne trees are quite small. You stack up the offensive unit. This is essentially a Bloodthirster, but on drugs. Essentially, it has the Locust. So in terms of the Locust, it's definitely situational who you're fighting. I don't think you need the Locust of Abjuration, which is the spell resistance. You can, I guess, go for it if you feel like you're going, tanking a lot of magic. But I think the most important ones are either Fury or Wrath. What makes these different? Well, Wrath is plus 40 melee attack, and Locust of Fury, which is charge bonus, base weapon damage, and armor piercing weapon damage. So I like to keep these near my army, and it really depends on what my army composition is. If I'm going for Chaos Warriors, I like to go for Locust of Wrath. I don't really think they need the charge bonus or weapon damage or armor piercing damage. I think just melee attack in general against when I'm fighting Slanesh and all that is enough. But when you're fighting, Nurgle, the armor piercing weapon damage and even the charge bonus and all that can be quite good. This is why I like to go for 2 Blood Reapers. Get the Locust of Fury and the Locust of Wrath. I think both of these stacking on top of each other will be great. He also stacks onto, any unit. So it could also be Skarbrand. It's very nice to have. Locus Abjuration I don't think is needed. So Fury and Wrath, get 2 of the Blood Reapers and put them in your army. In terms of the Chariot, or sorry, the Juggernaut or the Blood Throne, I do like the Blood Throne. It does allow you to have that anti-infantry, but the Juggernaut also is quite good to have too. They're both unlock at rank 8 9, so it's just really your choice. I think both options are perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. In terms of technologies, we already know that the technologies cost scores, so you want to go for the things you absolutely need rather than just everything. So things that I recommend are stuff like schools for the school thrones for that 20 schools per turn. You do get diplomatic relation cost reduction, but that's not too bad. Another one is Rage Within, 5% upkeep reduction for Chaos Warriors of Khorne, which is great because I tend to lose a lot of Chaos Warriors, so the upkeep cost reduction makes it just overall cheaper. Another thing is Skull Harvesting. This is a very important research to get for that increase the post-battle loot. Remember, we are always going to be constantly trying to get cash from post-battles, so that's what we're going to go for. After that, another one is Serial Killing. Campaign movement range 10% after raising a settlement. This is also important, so I'd go with Skull Harvesting and Serial Killing as your first 2 important ones. Then go for Rage Within if you really want to. Spread Rage is also a really good one for the 5% chance to automatically colonize ruined regions in province at turn start. This stacks with everything else, so you can go for the upkeep if you feel like using Chaos Warriors. If not, then go for Spread Rage, but you definitely want to go for Skull Harvesting and Serial Killing. The rest is the same, just take a look and take over any of the stuff for like income, spawning bloodletters and all that. There's some great choices. Just remember to always choose the most important one, not like the negligible one, not the things that won't really matter to you. Like stuff like bones versus large flesh hounds, that's not important, but blood host +1 unit on creation is really important. So always take a look. I recommend anything that spawns in units or buffs your post-battle income or just income in general, or boosts your blood host. Those are important stuff, and then you choose whatever units you're using or the buffs for any unit you're using. That's the priority. So the priority is this: boosts post-battle loot or any other form of income. Then it's anything buffs like campaign movement range buffs. Then it's stuff like increasing your blood hosts or chance to colonize ruins, and lastly anything that buffs your infantry, upkeep costs, buffs and all that. Anything you're using in particular, you can then go for last. You don't absolutely need it when you've got Skarbrand, who does a lot of the damage. Starting the campaign, you'll have to decide whether you'll go for the Khorne Chaos Warriors or the Bloodletters. The Bloodletters you automatically start with in the Dimensional Breach, but you can switch to the Chaos Warriors of Khorne if you really want to. I don't recommend doing this on Legendary purely because it's extra cost for no reason. However, you can do it if you really want those Chaos Warriors, but remember you can also get them from minor settlements as well. I personally have gone straight for going for a selection of Bloodletters in the start of the campaign so that I can just get an army up and running, so I can come down and attack Helm Rip in the Death Axe Monolith. This is what I recommend for you to do as soon as possible. So once you've taken out Helm Rip in the settlement, what you're going to do now is click Blood for the Blood Gods. Now, however, do remember to do this and click Schools for the Schools Throne beforehand so your Bloodletter army is bigger. Now, I honestly actually forgot to do this in this tutorial, but don't be a plonker like me and remember to do Schools for the School Throne so that you can get the extra Blood Host army units in the army, okay? Very important to do so because +2 is quite good to have. So after that, you send either your main army up north or your Blood Host army up north and the other army down south. This is how you expand super fast. You want one army attacking the Chaos Warriors here in the west, and then you want one army attacking the Khorne faction in the east, or whoever is in the east at the time. In this case, it's some elves. Some warriors, Chaos Warriors rather than elves. Okay, so let's go talk about Skarbrand in combat. So I typically just line up my troops in the back while I have my heroes, being Skarbrand for the majority of the part, just go on into the combat. So your expansion routes as Skarbrand the Exiled is fairly straightforward. The first thing you're going to do is go down to the Blast Glacier and Death Axe Monolith and raise them. The only time you should really colonize is when you are attacking a major settlement and you want to colonize that for the biggest percentage to colonize a minor settlement rather. Because each time you take a major settlement or minor settlement, there's a percentage chance that stacks to colonize a raised settlement. So only take major settlements and raise the rest for either 1,000 schools or the Bloodthirster army, whatever you feel like you need. After you dealt with your starting province, you can split your army up from to 2 by spawning in the Bloodhost as we mentioned earlier, then sending one army up to the west and the rest east. Then you can get the most potential out of this by raising your way through the east and west at the same time. So keep spawning in these Bloodhost armies and get the full potential with the Skull Throne. And that's all you need to know about Khorne and Skarbrand the Exiled. He is one of the easiest lords to play and definitely my first choice as a new player of the game. Now if you did enjoy this video and want more, do remember to comment down below and like the video. And subscribe if you're not. I shall be back next time, so have a good one. Bye bye.